Fred Woehl, described as cowboy poet, wild horse and burro rescuer, justice of the peace, soldier, preacher, community leader, husband, and father. Of course, if you asked Fred, he was fine with just being known as simply a cowboy. Anyone who spent time with Fred heard quotes that he used to inspire. One of them, "Don't be afraid of failing. The only people who don't fail are those who never do anything." He married his sweetheart, Carolyn Sue, and theirs was a marriage that took them down the road 50 years. His son Jeremiah and daughter Stephanie, grandchildren, all of whom he loved passing down his philosophy of life to. Fred served his country in the U.S. Army during the Vietnam War. For more than 3 decades, he worked with the U.S. Department of Agriculture Farm Service Agency, helping Arkansas farmers survive and thrive. When the U.S. State Department was looking for Americans to teach better farming, part of the reconstruction of Iraq, he volunteered to go. Now, it was supposed to be a 12-month assignment, but Woehl did so well over there, he was asked by the Department of the Interior to work in nearby Jordan. He spent an additional 16 months in Jordan, working to improve the treatment of horses before returning home in March of 2011. During that time, he realized some words lose things in translation. As he announced he was preparing a demonstration of no-till wheat farming, everyone began shouting, "No, no, no, Mr. Fred!" And he realized that demonstration to an Iraqi farmer meant torching, not teaching. So he learned to communicate a little differently from then on. He insisted on wearing his cowboy hat in Western wear while deployed because he said the love and respect of a cowboy was not threatening. It was a concept that worked beautifully, especially as he shared his love and care of horses with the farmers there. Fred served as Justice of the Peace, earning the respect of fellow judges. He was just a giving person. Everything Fred did was to help somebody else. He was a man of unity when it came to politics.
John Paul, I said, "You are a Republican." And I said, "What?" He said, "Well, that doesn't matter. When you're elected to an office, you serve everybody. It's not just one-sided. You serve everybody." And that's been my approach on this whole thing. I don't ask anybody how you voted. I don't ask what you are. If you call me and you need something, I will try to help you the best I can. I may hook you up with the county road foreman. I may hook you up with somebody else that knows, or I may take care of it, but I try to help everybody I can regardless. And they don't have to be in my district. I mean, I just try to help people.
He volunteered for over 20 years with the National Park Service at the Buffalo National River, 13 years with the Bureau of Land Management with the Wild Horse and Burro program, and he was a CASA volunteer as well, a volunteer instructor for 11 years at the University of Arkansas's Equine Center in Fayetteville, and a hunter education instructor for the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission for 30 years. He spent many of his years training, loving, and advocating for Mustangs as a result. Blue became one of his favorites, his star pupil, his pride and joy up until the day that he died. He created Farmer Fred Day to introduce first graders to the farm, and on the other end of the spectrum, he would take Blue to visit elderly folks at the local assisted living facility, proving that Mustangs were medicine for all ages. There wasn't a Sunday Fred wasn't in church. He was mayor of London, Arkansas, and served as Justice of the Peace for Boone County, allowing him to perform marriages for many couples. And speaking of marriage, he and Carolyn Sue spent their retirement adventuring around the world. Ireland, Australia, Jordan, Bahamas, Aruba, Cancun, New Zealand, even an Alaskan cruise. And for fun, he was part of the cowboy cast at Silver Dollar City, delighting kids and grown-ups alike with his stories, his Mustang, and his jokes.
Okay. I went to this church, and I was just visiting, and they had a big wall that had veterans that had passed on, and they had all like that. And the preacher was there looking at it. This little old boy was there, and he was looking at it too, you know. And the little boy, I heard him say to the preacher, "Well, what are those?" And the preacher said, "Well, son, that's in honor of everybody who has died in the service." And he said that we did this to make sure that they're never forgotten. The little boy looked and said, "Is that the 9:30 or 10:30 service, preacher?"
Fred never left an appearance or gathering without his original cowboy poetry recited. So as we welcome his family, led by his wife Carolyn, to accept for him, we welcome Fred Woehl to our Mustang Heritage Hall of Fame with his own words.
it's I've never seen our country as split as it is. It's either
Yeah.
here or here. There's nobody in between, you know. And what we need to be able to do is meet in the middle. I give a bit, you give a bit, and we can move on down the road. And that's the way it used to be. But now it's just my way or the highway, and there isn't any.
Yeah.
And it's
A lot of shaming going on too.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's frustration.
Oh boy.
You want me to share
We'll
one
get-
quick poem with you
Yes.
before
Yes.
we close?
Uh-huh.
Okay. There's nothing like a Mustang between your knees, one that's light through the rain and willing to please. Together as one till the day is done. On a Mustang, you'll find your way home. The world is brighter when you're up on this throne that's strapped to the top side of muscle and bone. Beneath you, a friend on whom you depend. On a Mustang, you'll find your way home. When my trails have ended on this earthly plane and the angels above, they call out my name, please carry me home on a good, honest gray. On a Mustang, I'll find my way home.